Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. For today's number talk, we are looking at these two numbers and trying to figure out if the sum of these two decimals is going to be more or less than 30. So let's take a look at our two addends. We've got 15.8 or 15 and 8 tenths. And if I'm wanting to figure out whether this is more or less than 30 for both of these, I think we need to estimate. So let's just round each of these to the nearest whole number. Now, when I'm saying whole number, I'm looking at the ones place. So if I'm looking at the ones place, that means I need to go next door to the tenths place to see, is that going to shift that number up or is it going to stay the same? So let's look at 15.8 or 15 and 8 tenths. This is going to be between, if I wanted to put it on a number line here, 15 point anything is going to be between the whole numbers 15 and 16. So if I'm looking at 15 and 8 tenths, right, that midpoint right there is going to be that 15 and 5 tenths. So 15.8 is going to go right around there. So 15 and 8 tenths is closer to 16 than it is 15. So let's just reimagine that as 16. And then let's do the same thing here for my 13 and 89 hundredths. So what two whole numbers is that in between? Well, it's between 13 and 14. I need my midpoint here. Anything at my midpoint or above rounds up. And so halfway in between the two is going to be 13 and 5 tenths or 13.5. And you see that 13.8 anything is going to be kind of close to that 14. So that's where that 13 and 89 hundredths lives. So this one also rounds up. So I could kind of reimagine my 15.8 as 16 and my 13.89 as 14. Now, if I wanted to estimate those two, then I'm going to think, well, 16 and 14. Think of your 6 and your 4 make 10. I've already got a 10 there, and already have a 10 there. So 10, 10, and 10 make 30. So that's going to be, right in between the less than 30 or more than 30. But how do we tell whether or not it's going to be less or more than 30? Think about what I did for each of these, and let me represent them with a number line here. So let's say that's 0. My first jump is going to be my first add-in. So let's say I take a 16 right there. So I'm going to end right there at 16. And I take another jump right there. And I add 14 right there. So that's going to get me my 30. That's what happens if I estimate it. But let me shift here to a different color because you're going to see I didn't actually go up 16 with my first jump. You see how this is 15.8? So 15.8, 15 and 8 tenths is a little bit smaller than 16. It's 2 tenths short. So if I were to draw an actual one, I would get to right about there. 15.8. I'm not quite all the way up to 16, so I'm a little bit short because I had to round up to get to 16. Then if my second jump isn't quite 14, it's this 13.89, so that's 11 hundredths short of the 14. So if I were to do something like this, see how I'm not going to get that full 14? This is going to get a plus, and I'll put it down here, 13 and 89 hundredths. So this second jump is shorter than that full 14 because I had to round up to get to the 14. So if I'm taking an initial jump that's shorter than the 16 and a secondary jump that's shorter than the 14, well then my answer is going to be less than 30.